Hi, and welcome to Gadget News and Review. We are home to some of the coolest gadgets, and the best consumer reviews online, buyer's guides and features. If you like our review, please subscribe for more upcoming reviews videos. Dell G5 15590 Review. A 15.6-inch gaming laptop with Nvidia's RTX graphics, a 6-core Intel processor and a quality IPS display in a quality sub-1-inch thick package. From a big brand. For $1,149? Shut the front door, you might say. But it's true. Dell's newly revised G5 15590 gaming laptop can be had as specified for precisely that much. Of course, pricing of any computing product is liable to change at short notice. Moreover, the review unit Dell sent us had the larger 90Wh battery, which bumps up the price a little. And you may well find, as ever, that the precise configuration we're reviewing here isn't available when you hit the Dell website, or anywhere else for that matter. But Dell is certainly adopting punchy positioning for its latest mainstream gaming laptop, a system that focuses on what really matters in a gaming portable and ditches the unnecessary frills. The net result compared to other gaming laptops from big brands, such as the Gigabyte Aorus 15 2019, is that Dell is typically giving you better performing components at any given price point. The Dell G5 15590 mostly is configured here, but with the 60 rather than 90Wh battery is currently available for Walmart for just $1,149, which is very insane. Specific configurations vary considerably, and the config Dell sent us isn't actually currently available from any of its own websites, but normal pricing would be in the $1,399 ballpark as configured, and perhaps £1,350 in the UK and 2,124 Australian dollars. As ever with Dell notebooks, configuration availability varies frequently over time and with location. But the good news is that the wide range of options means you can usually spec yours up to deliver on the things you care about and avoid paying for hardware you're not going to use. As we'll see, our review system is missing at least one obvious high-end option, and that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The usual refrain for hardware reviews often involves out-of-the-box impressions. But the actual packaging in which the new G5 from Dell is delivered makes its own statement. It's utterly unpretentious brown cardboard with absolutely no aesthetic niceties. It just ensures the system survives transit unscathed. You won't find us complaining. Fancy packaging like clever levitating box hinges are all very well. But it only adds to the cost of a product without adding anything to the user experience once you're up and running. Anyway, literally out of the box, the Dell G5 15590 mostly impresses. The chassis is a mix of metal and plastic and feels extremely robust. The monochrome backlit keyboard, likewise, is absolutely rock solid. Put simply, this is a portable that feels like it can take a beating. Styling is subjective, of course, but the Dell G5 15590 at least plows its own furrow with its ribbed chassis sides and strip of polished black plastic. By today's standards, the bezels are merely moderately slim and the lower chin is pretty fat. But at less than an inch thick, it's pretty svelte for a system with this much punch. The port count is another highlight. With 3 USB-A ports, a USB-C with Thunderbolt 3 port, HDMI, mini display port, LAN and an SD card reader, you really do have all your bases covered. It's also worth noting that most of these ports plus the power connector are at the rear of the chassis, ensuring a minimum of cable clutter. As for specs, the number of options can be bewildering. However, most configs including our review rig come with an Intel 6-core Core i7-8750H CPU. It's an 8th rather than 9th gen chip, but that's of zero consequence. It's all the CPU you're ever going to need in a laptop. Graphics-wise, we're talking Nvidia RTX 2060, which is the entry-level GPU in Nvidia's latest ray tracing-capable Turing generation of graphics chips, but very powerful in outright terms. It's paired with a 15.6-inch 1080p display based on IPS panel technology. Dell optionally offers 144Hz refresh support, but our review rig is limited to 60Hz. Elsewhere, there's a storage combo includes a 128GB M.2 SSD with a 1TB HDD and 16GB of RAM. The storage setup is a little unusual, but in theory offers both high performance for a limited number of critical apps, plus plenty of capacity for everything else. The Dell Gaming G5's core components are very nicely matched. The Intel 6-core CPU, Nvidia RTX 2060 graphics and the 1080p LCD panel combine to deliver properly smooth frame rates at high settings in the latest games. Specifically, we're not talking about the very last word in buttery smooth performance. For that you'll need an even more powerful GPU and a display with 120Hz plus refresh. But the point about the nicely matched components can be seen in our gaming benchmark results. Set to ultra detail, frame rate results in the 60 to 70 FPS region are very playable indeed. But they also indicate the futility of optioning a high refresh panel with this configuration. 144Hz support is pretty pointless if you're only driving the panel at around half that refresh rate. That's why the 60Hz panel option fitted to our review system makes sense. As for other performance-related observations, the fans are pretty noisy when the system is heavily loaded. But we'd prefer that over a rig that's prone to thermal throttling. The aforementioned 1080p panel, meanwhile, sports IPS tech and good colors, but lacks a little outright punch if you want to be picky. Another significant highlight is battery life. Nearly 10 hours of movie playback is frankly stellar for a powerful gaming notebook and transforms the gaming G5 into a genuinely useful all-round computing device, as opposed to merely a transportable gaming rig. However, it's worth pointing out that in the more intensive PC Home 8 battery benchmarks, which replicate moderate use, such as document creation and video calling, the battery lasted a lot shorter at 4 hours and 39 minutes. Still, these are very good results for a gaming laptop, especially one as affordable as the Dell G5 15590.